Sato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Yes, now whose turn?
We'll come. Do you want to do the Q&A now or a little later? Because I want to do a little bit of the verses and then we will do the Q&A. Don't forget, that's an exercise in attention and mindfulness. Don't forget your question. If you remember your question, good, ask it. If you forget it, it was not worth asking in the first place anyway. So.
Keep witnessing the questions.
If you have note, just make a couple of words, note it down. Let me go ahead a little bit. You might be thinking, all this till now, we have done 3 sessions. How many verses? 1 verse. But that same verse is very important. That's the key to the whole book. Now we have the key. The rest of the book should be not very difficult for a while, then it will get difficult again, and then very clear. So, the next 4 verses, verse 2, 3, 4, 5, are just an expansion of the 4 quarters of the first verse. The first part of the first verse, 1 verse, next part 1 more verse, like this. So we will do 4 verses, but they will tell us exactly what we have learnt in the first verse. Second, verse number 2. Nilapita sthula sukshma, Nilapita sthula sukshma, Rasva dirghadi bhedataha, Rasva dirghadi bhedataha, Nana vidhani rupani, Nana vidhani rupani, Pashyet lochanam ekadha, Pashyet lochanam ekadha. See, blue, yellow, neela, pita, big and small, long and short, all these are appearing to us. Look around you. Nana vidhani rupani, various colors. So here rupa means forms now. Colors, forms, these are all appearing before us. They are all in the visual field. All of them with their variety, many in number and variety, different, very variegated. They are all experienced by this organ of vision. Pashyet lochanam ekadha. The same organ of vision, 2 eyes, same organ of vision. In that one locus, you have the experience of all of this. What is he saying here? The eyes are the seer, the forms are seen. Eyes are separate from the forms. The eyes are never seen. Only the forms are seen. The eyes never see themselves, only the forms. Seer, separate from the seen. Seen, many. Seer, one. Seen, ever changing. Seer, never changing. Moving on. Number 3. Andhyamandhya patutveshu, Andhyamandhya patutveshu, Netra dharmeshu chaikadha, Netra dharmeshu chaikadha, Sankalpayet mana shrotra, Sankalpayet mana shrotra, Tvagado yojyatamidam, Tvagado yojyatamidam. Such characteristics of the eye as blindness, sharpness or dullness, the mind is able to cognize because it is a unity. This also applies to whatever is perceived through the ear, skin, etc. Unable to see, the mind knows it. I was able to see. Now everything is looking blurred. What happened? So after some time, I had the experience. I went to the doctor in New York. The doctor examined thoroughly and said, Swami, serious problem. What happened? You are above 40. So this is one of the commonest indicators of aging, that at some point above 40, slowly the eye loses its ability to focus properly. So you need glasses. Mandya, the eyes are not able to see clearly. I was able to see clearly earlier. Now putting on the glass, I am able to see clearly. Who is noticing all this? Not the eyes. Mind. Not the organs of vision, the mind. The mind objectifies the organs of vision, the organ of vision. And the changes in the organ of vision also objectified by the mind. The mind is able to note, I saw sharply earlier, now I am not seeing clearly. After putting on glasses, I am seeing clearly again. All note, mind is the drashta. Eyes, amazing, till now it was drashta, now it has become drishya. Now here drashta and drishya does not mean in the sense of seeing, it's in the sense of knowing. But not just eyes of eyes. It says, yojyatam shrotra tvagadiyo. Shrotra, ears, tvak, skin, adi, etc. Nose, tongue. In all five sensory systems. Lot of information is coming through that. What happens? Sankalpayet manaha. The mind is processing. All information. Audio, visual, tactile, olfactory. What is the gustatory? All those information is being processed by the mind by itself. Mind is the seer. The senses themselves become the seen. What about the world? Still the seen. Ever the seen, never the seer. But the eyes, they were the seer, now they become the seen. The mind is now the seer. Mind experiences all the sensory. And that is true also. Interesting that when the eyes are closed, in the dream you still see. There is no sound in the room. In the dream you hear, carry on a conversation. You can hear music. There was the great Western composer, not Mozart, the one who became almost deaf towards the end of his life. Beethoven. He could hear music even better. That is the music of the gods. At the level of the mind. He could hear it, but not through ears. Almost deaf. He kept on composing. It is death for a musician not to be able to hear. But he could hear even better. Shows that these powers are at the level of the mind. The organs are just the instruments. I remember a story that Swami Suhitanandaji told me. He was serving Swami Premishanandaji, who was old and sick. He was being taken around in a perambulator in the ashram. And at one point, one volunteer, I think, somebody in the ashram was cutting a tree with an axe. Swami Premishanandaji, this old feeble man, he said, "Give it to me. What are you doing? Give it to me." He took the axe and then he cut. And amazingly, first of all, how he could get up and wield the axe and cut sharp blows. He was done within minutes. Every blow on the same spot. He said, "Look at how you have been cutting." That every blow is landing at different places. Precision, one after another. The real skill, coordination is a mental thing. It's not so much body or senses. Again and again we have seen this. So, the mind by itself processes all the information from all the senses. The mind is the seer, the senses are the seen. The mind seer is one, senses are many. The mind being unchanging, you say, what do you mean mind is unchanging? All the time, Swami, you keep saying mind is changing. Yes, but mind changes into more mind, thoughts into thoughts, feelings into feelings, ideas into ideas. But here, in the sensory organs, sight, smell, taste, touch, variety of differences. So the mind remaining mental, it processes all the sensory modalities, various kinds of sensory inputs. So, seer and the seen are different, one. Seer is unchanging, seen are changing. Seer is one, seen are many. This is again we see that. This is the what? Third quarter. Second quarter of the verse. Verse number 4. Now interesting, it will get interesting. Kama sankalpa sandeho Shraddha Shraddhe Dhriti Tare Reer Dheer Bhi Repeat Reer Dheer Bhi Ityevamadin Bhasayatte kadachitihi Re means modesty. You're all feeling modest, that's why you did not repeat. Re, dir, be, shyness. So what is he saying here? Every movement in the mind, let us now consider the mind itself, our inner lives. Every activity in the mind is experienced. If it is experienced, remember, consciousness plus object is equal to experience. Experience of our internal states means those internal states, thoughts, emotions, ideas, they are all objects, and consciousness is their experience, is the illuminer, witness. So he says, kamaha, desire, I want. Sankalpa, just processing. Is it this? Is it that? Mental processing is going on. Thinking, general thinking. Sandeha, doubt. People always ask, this Sakshi, it's clear now, but it's again within some time, by dinner time it will become unclear. By the time I go out from Sarvapriyananda, totally unclear. So how to remain in the Sakshi? Always people will ask this. It's a very natural question. Sandeha. And here he is saying that very Sandeha right now, because you are able to have that Sandeha, that doubt, because Sakshi is there. The very Sandeha reveals the Sakshi. Shankaracharya says, Yaeva tasya nirakarta tasyaiva atmasa. Whoever denies this Atma, it is the Atma of that very denier. How do you have this Sandeha at all? I'm not scolding you for having Sandeha. I'm saying literally, how do we have it? Because consciousness is illumining a thought in the mind. That consciousness is, Sakshi is not there anymore. I lost it. No, what you lost was the attention on the Sakshi by the mind, on this understanding. The mind went on to other things. Then the mind is complaining. Sakshi was there, Sakshi is gone. Is Sakshi complaining or mind complaining? Mind. When you did Vedanta and you realized what the Sakshi was, good. When you got involved in the world and totally forgot what the Sakshi was right there. Because that's why you are involved in the world. That's why you're able to experience the world. And then when you had the doubt, oh, I've forgotten the Sakshi, I've become involved, I'm suffering in the world. Sakshi is right there. That's why you are able to have this question. What do we do then? Do one thing, that realize I am the Sakshi ever present. Nirantara, we just said, I am without a gap. Then when you say I am getting a gap, I am forgetting, then who is getting the gap? Is consciousness getting a gap or mind? Mind. Mind said, I was thinking about Sakshi in the retreat. Then for last 6 months, Swami, I'm sorry to say, I have not thought about Sakshi. Vedanta says, good. Thinking about Sakshi is not the goal of Vedanta. It's only the method. Sakshi is the one which illumined the thinking about Vedanta. Sakshi is the one which illumined the forgetfulness of the mind. Sakshi is the one which illumines the sudden awakening of the mind. Same Sakshi. Ever awake, Nirantara, without gap. And you are the Sakshi. You just admitted here, I am Nirantara. I am without a gap. Mind may forget. No, shouldn't the mind remember? It should remember. But even if it doesn't remember, what is it to you? Naham mana name manaha. I am not the mind, it is not my mind. One sadhu said so bold, he said, Kitne man ko sudharoge Mahatma ji? How many minds will you clean up? He says, Brahma Chaitanya ki Brahma Jyoti ki ek kiran mein, in the consciousness that is Brahman, in one ray of that, he is speaking poetically, there is no one ray of that. In one ray of that, millions of minds, like dust in a sunbeam. In a sunbeam, dust, this Brownian movement we learnt in school, little particles of dust floating. In the one beam of the Brahma Chaitanya, millions of minds, wo karodo antakaran purpura rahe hain. Kitne ko sudharoge Mahatma ji? How many will you make? Hey, think of Sakshi, you think of Sakshi, you think of Sakshi. No, what you have to do is, I am that Brahma Chaitanya. I am that Jyoti. Let the mind go where it wants. Then you will see that crooked mind will come and say, no, it's all right, you are Chaitanya. There was one Swami, Ramananda Saraswati. This I have told many times. He's talking to a young Swami, that's not me, somebody else. That Swami was asking, after all this discussion, like this, exactly at this point in the discussion, some other text was going on. He said, लेकिन अहम ब्रह्मास्मि इतना तो पकड़ के रखना है ना महात्मा जी. But I am Brahman, at least this much the mind should hold. I understand I am Brahman all the time, whether mind holds on to it not. But the mind should hold on to I am Brahman at least, isn't it? At least this much the mind should hold on to. And the Swami said with such great force, वही तो नहीं पकड़ के रखना है. That's what you must not hold on to. You are thinking that mind thinking I am Brahman, that is spirituality and enlightenment. That's not spirituality or enlightenment. What is enlightenment? You are Brahman, that is the enlightenment. Not your mind is thinking I am Brahman. If the mind thinks, so much blessed is the mind. If the mind thinks, so much the worse for the mind. But you are Brahman regardless. This must be clear. Sandeha, Shraddha, Shraddhe, Dhriti, Tare. Shraddha, I believe what you are saying, Swami. I believe in Vedanta. I have great faith that God exists. This is Shraddha. I feel, yes, let the mind say what it will. Ups and downs will come in the mind. But I have this increasing conviction. I am Brahman. Or I am a child of the divine. This is my identity. This is called Shraddha. A spiritual confidence. Shraddha. Faith in oneself. Opposite, Ashraddha. Saying this, but I don't believe all this. It's all nonsense. Swami, I have a PhD in all these things you are teaching. I still don't believe all this. Ashraddha. I don't believe. I don't think it is true. And what is this? The teacher, Shankaracharya or Vidyaranya Swami saying? Bhasayatyekadha chitihi. The same consciousness illumines the wonderful Shraddha in the mind and the utter lack of respect or faith in the mind of the other. Same consciousness. Your Ashraddha also is impossible without that consciousness. Your very Ashraddha proves that it is being illumined by consciousness. Otherwise, you could not experience doubt, lack of faith. I tell you, once you grasp this, what is being said here, there is no way out. Because you cannot, once you have seen, you cannot look away anymore. Every doubt also, it will just arise, the doubt will vaporize, like a drop of water you put on a red hot skillet or saucepan or something, it will sizzle and vaporize. This knowledge is so clear. I'll come to you. Remember the question. Dhriti itare. Dhriti. Somebody is determined, focused, practicing spiritual life, meditation, japa, seva, all of that. Somebody is very fickle. I start, I stop, I take up this one, then I take up another one, I give it up. Both are very different experiences. One is genuine progress in spiritual life. Another one, frustration and nothing is accumulating. Trying something, dropping it. Try something, drop it, change. Initially it might be okay, but after 5 years, 10 years, it's a waste of time. And it leads to frustration, unhappiness, disappointment. But what he's saying is, both experiences are being lit up by consciousness. Constant, nirantara, without any change. Samaha. In the case of the spiritually progressing person, same consciousness. In the case of the dilettante who is dabbling here and there, same consciousness. Equally so. And one might say, if it is equally so, then why should I put in so much effort? You will suffer. Suffer. That is modesty. And opposite also, immodesty. Somebody is arrogant, not shy. Somebody is shy, somebody is not shy, arrogant. Dhi, intelligence. Somebody is super smart. I was in a conference recently with physicists, neuroscientists, AI people, philosophers, and each one top of the world. Literally, if you Google in that field, you'll get one of those names. Not the top, but they are in the top 2, 3 in the world. One thing I noticed about them, number of things. One, I noticed, they're all, such intelligence is rare, my God. Incandescent, you might say. Second, they're always switched on. No break. I can take a name. Christoph Koch, I was with him for 4 or 5 days. Oh my God, this person day in and day out. Consciousness, 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 consciousness. Brain, consciousness, neuroscience, all the time thinking. All the time working. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, walking in the streets of Venice, thinking. So, switched on. Never switches off. Like the sunlight. I need rest, break. He does not need any rest. Because he does only one thing. And he's not the only one. He's like that. David Chalmers was there, the one who coined the term heart problem consciousness. He was there. There's one Dr. Anil Seth, a leading neuroscientist from University of Sussex, I think. Yeah, he was there. They're all like that, all of them. The guy behind our AI, Gemini AI in Google, he was there. Third thing I noticed was, if I call it humility, they will be surprised because they don't think of themselves as humble people. But it's a kind of humility. If you talk of any sense, anything that is useful for them, interesting to them, whoever you are, I'm nothing compared to them. But what I said, and I'm talking just Advaita, but they're very interested, regardless of their position. They're not interested in the position, name and fame. They're more interested in just the field they work. They become one with the field, whichever field it is. And of course, they are nice in one way, also not nice in another way. If it is anything other than what they are interested in, they'll ruthlessly cut you out. No mercy there. They are not interested. Anything you pull him out for anything which is not interesting to their field. If you make it interesting to their field, they are all for you. So very interesting. This is called Dhi. And you can see it in spiritual life also. Swami Turiyananji says, in the old age, he says, at one time I had developed this power of, I could see, when a person would ask a question in Vedanta, I could see through the depths of the person's mind and understand what exactly is he asking and throw new light all the time. I'm not able to recall the exact words, but this luminous power of seeing into what a person is thinking and understanding. This is a kind of spiritual intelligence, he said. Dhi, bhi, fear, etc. Whatever comes and goes in the mind, good, high, excellent things, low, boring, dull, bad, evil, sensual things, whatever is coming. Bhasayate kadachitihi. Consciousness by itself illumines everything. The seer, consciousness, chiti. One. The movements of the mind, many, thousands. Chiti, never changing. Mind, ever changing. And chiti and mind are separate. Consciousness is the seer, separate from the mind. Up to this. This was the third quarter. Remember what we are talking about, the first verse. This is the third quarter of the first verse. Last one we will do. The fourth and most interesting quarter. About Dṛg-Dṛśya, Sakshi. Dṛg, seer. Drashta, seer. Sakshi, the witness. Chaitanya, Atma, Bodha. Many words are there. Chiti. About that now. First one was about forms are seen, eyes are the seer. Second was about eyes are seen, mind is the seer. Third one was about mind is seen, consciousness is the seer. Now. Nodeti nastametyesha. Nodeti nastametyesha. Na vriddhim yati nakshayam. Na vriddhim yati nakshayam. Swayam vibhatyatanyani. Swayam vibhatyatanyani. Bhasayet sadhanam vina. Bhasayet sadhanam vina. Nodeti, nastameti. What a beautiful terminology. He's comparing it with the sun. See, sun rises and now sun is setting. That sun is prakasha, jyoti. We can see now it's all going into shadow. The world is passing into shadow because the sun has set. Sun neither rises. Actually, if you go to the sun neither rises nor sets. It is the movement of the earth. We learnt in our school the movement of the earth, which is giving us the impression of sunrise and sunset. By the way, this is an example which is used in Vedanta also. After enlightenment, everything will still appear the same, but everything will be revolutionized. Earlier we thought sun is rising in the east and setting in the west. Now after school we realize it is the earth which is rotating and we are getting the impression of sunrise and sunset. But when you come out and see, what will you see? Sun rising and sun setting. Similarly, after Vedantic realization, what will you see? Same word. You say, oh, what is the use? No, on the other hand, you will also see that the same existence consciousness bliss is shining in this which you earlier called samsara. Now you will have to call it Leela. It's the Leela of that one Satchidananda. That will be the difference. Total difference. Upside down. From sunset, sunrise to earth rotating and sun is steady. Similarly, no deeti nastameti. This consciousness neither rises nor sets. I want us to appreciate it. This is the shloka where they are doing vastu kaisi hai. They are pointing out. We have explored it already. I want us, if we were up to speed on what we did in the last session, now when we say no deeti nastameti, consciousness does not rise, does not set, we will immediately note nirantara, nirvikara. Without any gap. Consciousness is without any gap, nirantara, and also without any change. This is what is meant. Not only connecting the words, see it in our own lives. Is it true? People ask, deep sleep? No, Swami, there is no consciousness. Consciousness is gone in deep sleep, in unconsciousness, in general anesthesia. Somebody argued with me. Deep sleep you can still argue, but general anesthesia is different from deep sleep, Swami. There is no consciousness is there. A long discussion was there. As recently at the Harvard Medical School, was Professor Balachandran, who is the head of the anesthesiology department in Harvard Medical School. And the day before yesterday in AIMS, the director of AIMS smiled, and when I mentioned his name, he said he's a student of AIMS. So many Indian doctors are top positions there. He was saying in a conference, he's a head of anesthesia at Harvard Medical School. He's saying, now we are getting evidence of, he called it implicit memory in deep sleep and in general anesthesia. Some technical terms, I don't know the in-depth meaning, but the old idea, we have removed consciousness. No longer. I was there on stage, and there was a very famous teacher, Sadhguru. He was also there, and he was, at that time I was in the audience, and he pointed to the doctor, the head of the Harvard Medical Anesthesia, and says, and Bala, he thinks he can make consciousness choo. and that Bala, his head. No. Vedanta says, what you miss in deep sleep or in general anesthesia, that is not consciousness, that's the mind. In fact, it's a very good test case, general anesthesia, deep sleep, to see if you can distinguish between mind and consciousness very clearly. Okay. What I'm saying is, even modern neuroscientific evidence is examining this question. They have not come to a conclusion yet. Is opening the old case. Earlier we thought no consciousness in general anesthesia. Now we are not so sure. That much I'm saying. Na vriddhim na yati nakshayam. Consciousness is neither increased nor decreased, neither improved nor diminished. We saw samaha, ever the same. Abhyayaha, undecaying, undamaged. So that sun of consciousness which neither rises nor sets is not subject to gain or loss, improvement or degradation, enrichment or impoverishment. It's ever the same, shining. It's contrasting with moon. Moon, full moon, new moon, quarter moon. So it goes through phases. So in Vedanta, sun is always used as a pratik, a symbol of pure consciousness. Moon is used as a symbol of mind. Mind can be alert, it can be awake. Mind can be sleepy. Mind can go to sleep. Mind can be bored. Mind can be excited. Mind can be calm and meditative. Mind can be totally distracted. These are the phases of the mind. Consciousness, The sunlight shining on the mind is constant, constant. Consciousness is the light shining on the mind. You are not the mind, you are that one consciousness. Then next one, Swayam Vibhati, it shines itself, Adhanyani, and reveals everything else. What is this? Swaprakasha. Two things have been said. Jyoti, Jyoti, the light of lights. And then Swaprakasha, self-luminous. What is self-luminosity? The ability to reveal everything and reveal itself. Lot of Vedanta is there. My God, what can I tell you? The Brihad Prasthanatraya mentioned Chit Sukhi. There is a book, it's called A Brain Fryer. So if you think this is difficult, this is baby. That is PhD level. Brain fryer. There they will ask, this Swaprakasha, this thing which you just said, it is self-luminous and it reveals everything and reveals itself. This revealing itself, what do you mean? What is revealing itself? Swaprakasha, Swayam Prakasha, self-luminosity. This is the nature of consciousness. To shine and to reveal everything. If everything is not there, it's still shining, self-revealing. It does not depend on other things for its self-revelation. What do you mean? How do you define it? This book is there, Chit Sukhi. Extremely difficult book. And it was written by one great master, post-Shankara, Chit Sukhacharya. That's why it's called Chit Sukhi. But actually its name is Tattva Pradipika, the lamp which illumines the truth. One of our teachers, Acharyas, when we were brahmacharis, I saw him going to a great Pandita, Mahamopadhyaya. Once a week he would go to study this text. And I saw him going there for 14 years, once a week, until that Pandit passed away. The text was not complete. Gurdasma, to Shitanath Goswami would go. What does it say? One of the famous parts of the Chit Sukhi. So what is this self-luminosity you are talking about? Please define it. And then follows 11 definitions. 11 definitions, if I remember correctly. 10 definitions are rejected as faulty and the last one is accepted. That's a long passage in the Chit Sukhi. Famous passage. Even now, consciousness studies, philosophy of mind, they take that and they study it. Because each of those definitions reveals something interesting about consciousness, but they are faulty definitions. And final definition. Swa vishayatve sati aparoksha vyavahara yogyatvam swaprakashatvam. What is self-luminosity? It never becoming an object to itself. Yet it can be indicated as indicated by direct experience. That is an approximate way of putting it. But you can understand what are they talking about? They're talking about you, that's Sakshi. Can you ever become an object, which means can you ever be seen? Well, I'm seeing myself, that's the body. I'm seeing myself and I'm thinking, that's the thought mind. That one which is seeing the body and the mind, that one, can you see it? Not at all. Can you hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it? Not at all. Can you grasp it with your hands? Can you go on Tirtha Yatra to it? Not at all. All speaking about it, all this philosophizing about it, all this philosophy itself, this philosophizing is an object to it. It is not objectified by this philosophy. So, swa avishayatve sati, never becoming an object to itself. Yet, aparoksha vyavahara yogyatvam, it is fit to be designated as directly cognizable or realizable. More precisely, non-indirectly. Aparoksha, aparoksha vyavahara. Non-indirectly cognizable by itself. That means basically it is obvious without becoming an object. What is obvious without becoming an object? You. Are you not obvious to yourself? Yeah. If you think too much about it, headache. Funny story, but it's more you enjoy in Bengali only. One senior Swami came to visit us, actually earlier batch of brahmacharis, and he asked the brahmacharis long ago. I heard the story from another Swami. One very senior Swami came to visit us and he asked, when we were in training, what are you studying? And one brahmachari, very brash, humorous, he said, Chitsukhi. That Swami was very impressed. What, in training center nowadays you are studying Chitsukhi, brahmacharis? Yes. What do you mean? In Bengali I'll tell you and explain. Oi chit hoye shwetakar je shuk, seta hochchhe Chitsukhi. Sleep flat on your back and relax. Yeah. Especially if you're a sleep-deprived brahmachari. You have to get up 3:40 a.m. in the morning. Always you feel sleepy. And throughout the day, hard physical work and endless Vedanta and Nyaya and Sanskrit. So you're always feeling sleepy. If now you go and sleep, oh, what relaxation. That is called Chitsukhi. Because in Bengali, the word chit means flat. Sukha, happy. Chitsukhi, the one who is happy when is lying down flat. That's not the meaning, by the way. Swayam vibhati athanyani bhasayat. This is the meaning of Swaprakasha. We already did this. Sakshi is Swaprakasha. See, whatever we are doing in this beautiful verse, number 5, we have already seen this in the third session. Sadhanam vina. What is sadhanam vina? Without any intermediary. This is called aparoksha. I mentioned, we noticed, not I mentioned, we noticed. You, the consciousness, is it not direct? Is it not instantaneous? Is it not always available? Does it require any intermediary? No. This is called aparoksha, sadhanam vina. Without any intermediary. It shines if the world is revealed. To see forms, you need the mind and the eyes. To know particle physics, you need practical accelerator, PhD in college in physics. Sadhanam, instruments, procedures are needed. But what appears before consciousness, the activity of the mind, that is directly revealed by consciousness without any sadhana, without any instrument. This is the nature of pure consciousness. This is your nature. This is my nature. This is our nature. This is what we are. We don't have to become this. Don't try to become this. The sadhu said, Anant banne ki jid mat karo Mahatma ji. Don't try to become the infinite. You are. If you try to become, it will be a mental effort. You will never be satisfied. Notice this. You will realize this is infinite. We will see the infinity of that later on. Okay. Now we have some time, 15-20 minutes. I hope you have remembered the questions. We'll come back to you. There's somebody who I cut off there. Yeah, we'll give opportunity to the ones who have not asked first, and others also. Yes, the lady there. Please tell us your name and ask the question.
Disclaimer, if I get overwhelmed, I'm not unstable, I'm just overwhelmed. Vedanta makes me that way. The oldest of the tears are on you. So I'm Preeti Rana. So Arindam Chakravarti said that we don't know the obvious experience of our true self because we don't want to know. And he said it's because we don't want to give up our individuality. So, everything that I have studied with you for the past several years, it's about the mind, that it is not the mind. It's all about consciousness, it's about existence. Even Brahma Vyapti is going to happen in Chidabhasa state. It is Chidabhasa, it is going to be in the mind. So I kept studying and I revel in this pedagogy, absolutely. Because that is what is going to enable and get me the ultimate epiphany. But I know today, since yesterday, that the collateral damage of Jnana Yoga, again, which I revel in, is that it distracted me from a fact that I am fulfilled. Ananda. We don't speak much about Ananda. We step away from it because it cannot perhaps be forensically shared. Bhakti also makes this fact conditional.
Okay.
you're in
To make it more precise, yeah. Sharpen
Bhakti
it.
makes it conditional, and Karma Yoga and meditation makes it about capability and metric based. Yet here I am, and I will force my way to take a minute or so. I am fulfilled. I'm listening to your talk, Swamiji. In Bhakti Bhav, I'm rejoicing. And I speak these words not of Preeti, but of a Parabhakti. Yesterday, you walked in, and I felt a sense of fulfillment. Ananda, complete fulfillment. Everything, I'm sure, all the effort fell into place. So much so, and here's the proof that I can give you. I did not want to eat because I was so afraid that this might be a mental construct. And quite honestly, I felt so fulfilled that I didn't want to eat. I couldn't get into the mundane thing of dal, sabzi, roti. So I went away. This morning, I was afraid to eat because I thought if this is a mental construct, then if I activate my taste buds, it might go away. I'm happy to report my dear roommate is a worried, so she fed me an apple. I had chai and biscuit. I'm still so extraordinary.
Yes.
fulfilled.
I
So,
see what you're trying to say. Does it come to a question, or but basically this?
Yes. Unfortunately, we have to end things in a question.
Okay, you don't have to. You can leave it at that. I'll just make an observation. Or do you want to end it in a question?
I will end
Okay.
that everything is about existence, everything that you have mentioned. You also say the mind is existence and consciousness. I cannot speak much more about this place of fulfillment, so my request to you is please teach Navyanaya. I cannot learn it from anybody else, you're my source. So that you spoke about nation building and about us becoming as a race, as a nation.
Okay, I understand.
So please, when will you
Yes.
teach? That's the question. When are you going to teach Navyanaya?
All right. I understand. Now, see, this tremendous joy which we get is a kind of emotional upwelling. You said, is it a mental construct? In one sense it is, but there's no harm in that. It is the effect of this sadhana, of this listening to Vedanta on the mind. So it will arise. It's good that it has come and you are experiencing it. But it will also fade away. What will not fade away is you. Do not grasp onto anything objective. So you will be fine. You are fine. This reflection is showing you that you are fine. Eat. That is my... not only your roommate, everybody is worried. So you eat nicely, eat more than an apple. If by activating the taste buds, if the feeling becomes milder, doesn't matter. You have not become diminished by that. Remember, samaha. What I was earlier, that I am during this intense experience. If this intense experience fades away after some time, no loss at all. It is a wave in the ocean which I am. Ocean never, now a tsunami wave has come. But the ocean is never possessive or attached to the tsunami wave. The ocean knows that the tsunami wave, I am. So be the ocean, not the wave. Okay. Yes.
Swamiji, it's just a confirmation. So awareness it doesn't have to, but it can be aware of itself, right?
Awareness doesn't have to, can be aware of itself. Actually, what you are speaking of here is attention. We can put attention on the world, we can put attention on our own existence. Sometimes we don't put attention on our own existence, we still continue to exist and be doing work in the world. We are not self-aware, what you call self-aware, psychologically. That's what you're calling. Now, that's what you're saying. Now, awareness is not like that. It's not that awareness may not be aware of itself and then can be aware of itself. No, it is constant. There are not two modes. Awareness not aware of itself, awareness aware of itself. No. Awareness is just like this light shining right now. The two things which are speaking about, not aware and aware of myself, that is the mind. The mind may be very busy and involved in the world. The mind may put some time into Vedantic study and then become more and more self-aware. See, it's a process of becoming more and more self-aware. That also you can see. I was so busy, I was not even aware of my body, working so hard or playing so hard or whatever. And then I noticed the body, self-aware. I noticed the breath, self-aware. But self-awareness, more and more self-awareness is coming. And then I noticed the mind, more self-aware. Then I do Vedanta Vichara and say, I am the witness of the mind, more self-aware. That is the mind. The witness consciousness was constant throughout. That neuroscientist I spoke about, Christoph Koch, he says the effect of this phone, being lost in social media. He says you have to go from being nowhere to now here. Same spelling, nowhere, Nowhere. If you split it, now here. How do you do that? He says this mindfulness. This plunges us into nowhere. Look at the feeling. When you are involved in the social media, looking, replying, sending likes, worrying about it, where are you exactly? Do you have a sense of identity, presence? No, it's scattered. Consciousness is there, but the sense of self is scattered in that social media world. You stop it, take a breath. This breath, in breath, this breath, out breath, and I'm present. This is the body, it is here, and now, right now here. This has become more self-aware. Who else? The lady there. Come to you.
Mr. Swamiji. Swamiji, my question is,
Can you speak a little louder? Because some people are not able to hear.
Swamiji, my question is, what is the anubhava or the anubhuti of a realized being?
What is the anubhuti of a realized being? Yes, I refer you to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. Arjuna asks the same question to Arjuna. Sthitaprajñasya ka bhāṣa, samadhistasya keshava.
The phenomenological experience.
Yes, that's exactly what Krishna talks about, the phenomenological experience. How does it feel from within? Good. How does a Sthitaprajña feel from within? And Krishna answers that. If you look at Krishna's answers, masterpiece, those verses, last verses of second chapter. Starts with Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. It's an internal feel. He's answering from the perspective of the enlightened one. Because those characteristics you cannot see from outside. Those are only what is called swasangvedya, which is experienced internally, what you call phenomenological. The experienced, lived feel of it. Please see those verses. That was the precise question of Arjuna. How do they speak? How do they interact with the world? How do they sit? He's asking, how do they walk? How do they meditate? The internal life of a Jivan Mukta. And those beautiful verses.
Anybody?
Then I'll give, yes, the only ones who have not asked, I'll give chance to him and then the lady there.
My name is Ramesh. It's not a personal question, but as you were commenting upon the conversations you were having with Christoph Koch and Christopher and Anil Seth and so on, I was struck by the end of that phrase you used, which is, I was just talking about Vedanta. And I must say I felt a pang, because I feel not out of a sense of spiritual jingoism, but a universal analytical excellence, that this is the pristine heights.
Yes.
And I think I speak for many of us who arrived at this largely because of you, because it answers questions in the most clinical, objective,
Yes.
fascinatingly clear way. So why not challenge them in a way that Shankaracharya did at Maheshwari?
Yes.
To say this is the highest goal and we must apply the same yardstick in the 21st century.
That is true. You're right. And I was brought there to challenge him. That's the reason I was invited was that. You put your... See, it's a very free atmosphere. These are big people, but I saw literal fights, not physical fights. Strong arguments break out among them. They are willing to do that because they want to get to the heart of things. Maybe a little bit of ego is involved, but still they are really willing to listen. All of them were willing to listen. And the difference is, of course, these are pioneers. What I was pointing at is that they are pioneers in their fields. They are taking those fields forward in a new way, scientific, in the world of scientific philosophical inquiry. I am not a pioneer. I am just a conveyor of an age-old tradition. But that tradition has something tremendous to say, to contribute to these questions which are being raised now. See, Vivekananda said that this is an age-old teaching. These questions were asked first by the ancient Hindus, but each generation must ask these questions for themselves. And so again in this day, we are children of this 20th, 21st century, this time, and we are children of the age of science. So we are again asking the same questions but in a different way, which the ancients did not ask. Same question, different language, different framework. And Vivekananda said, it's not that the answers were not found. What they are finding or will find in the future, already found. The answers were found. But then why again and again ask and why again and again find those answers? Vivekananda gives a beautiful interpretation or beautiful insight. He says, the answers were found. And the answers gather strength as they roll down the centuries. They were found in the age of the Upanishads. But when it comes to this age, the age of the darshanas, philosophies, it gathers strength because it pulls in logic, it pulls in meditation, it pulls in various frameworks of maya, avidya, emptiness. All of these new concepts, new ideas, new framework is pulled in. So the same answer, Upanishadic answer, has gathered strength. Now again in this age, we are asking question, what is the relation of brain to what you are saying? What is the relation of general anesthesia to what you are saying? What is the relation of AI to what you are saying? What is the relation of quantum theory? These are all things which were considered in that conference. Quantum theory to what you are saying in Advaita. Now if you can plug those in, Advaita becomes even more glorious. Same answer has gathered strength now. Tremendously. Same Krishna is now seen as Vishwarupa. Same Krishna. Same Advaita. Now is the glory. I cannot tell you. Standing on the bank of the Mediterranean, a fierce argument. There's one person, brilliant guy, AI guy, he is convinced AI can be conscious. And I have a battery of arguments. I'm just the opposite. AI is not conscious and cannot be conscious. First time I found somebody cutting down my arguments with ease. One after another. And not only that, it was brilliant. How he turned the tables around and proved by my own arguments that AI, it's possible it can be conscious. And we were arguing back and forth. At this time came one of the world's leading quantum theorists, Carlo Rovelli. I've heard of him. He's written a number of books. He came. And it was actually a 12th century Italian monastery. The garden had been opened to us just for those philosophers and scientists. They are allowed to walk. Nobody, public is not allowed. You can walk, talk, fight, whatever you want for 1 or 2 hours. So the quantum theorist comes. And then it takes a different dimension. What is the relationship between consciousness and information? Information and, he says, quantum interactions. And I gave him this verse from the Gita. Jyotisham api tad jyoti tamasah paramuchyate jnanam geyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya dishtitam. Krishna says to Arjuna, 13th chapter, 17th verse. Light, it is the light of lights, said to be forever beyond darkness. It is knowledge. It is that which has to be known and it is attained by knowledge and is forever shining in the hearts of all beings. Basically, he's talking about consciousness. But he gave an entirely different interpretation. This Carlo Rovelli, he said he was so excited. He said, why do you all, the Vedantins, Krishna is talking about light there. You keep translating into consciousness. You need not. He says, just take light. I will show you that what Krishna is saying there. And also Upanishad, they gave him some quotations. What the Upanishads and Gita are saying are literally true. You don't have to give philosophical interpretation. He went from that to what is light. It's a brilliant thing talking to these people. We are having a coffee break. That Carlo Rovelli was there. He says interactions, relation and theory of relational interpretation of quantum theory. He says, you are seeing this glass. There was a glass there. So you have information about this glass. So yes, look, your face is reflected in the glass. The glass has information about you. And this is mediated by light. So light, what we call light, is just little bit of the electromagnetic spectrum because of our eyes. Literally the entire spectrum is light. From X-rays and all to infrared and all are light. And this light is the basis of quantum interaction between entities in the universe. And then he has this interpretation that all the things in this universe are the result of these quantum interactions. He says literally the universe is light shining. Will you say this? He said, I was thinking whether they will ever admit in. He himself gave the proposal. He said, we should write a paper, Advaita Vedanta, quantum theory and AI, 3 worldviews on consciousness. I propose we should call it light shining. So it was written, published. I didn't have to do anything. They themselves wrote it. They put my name in the beginning. So, insight. This is progress. Slow progress, but insight. New way. Not that everybody will agree. Immediately there will be pushback. Another brilliant philosopher, next I had an interaction with, is in Netherlands, in Amsterdam, Bernardo Kastrup. He said to, when I told this, then I gave him the whole series of arguments. He was very angry. He said, don't listen to him, Swami, that AI guy, who's saying that AI can be conscious. This is the amount of stupidity that you get about consciousness when you get a PhD is astonishing, he says. He says, your initial idea was right. This AI is not at all conscious and cannot be conscious. It's a clever toy. He says, I know down to the details how AI functions. He gave a beautiful little insight that how we call them large language models, but he says it's basically geometry. So one text, what are the probabilities of the next word being after that text? You make a geometric space about it, then expand it further. Then depending on the parameters, the space will be, it will change. You can translate, you can rotate that space and so on. I never thought of it that way, but it says it is common. AI people know this. That's all it is, he says. But anyway, there are counter arguments also. But it was a very enriching time. But interesting thing was just like the glass reflecting my face, not only they took Advaita Vedanta, but my understanding of Advaita Vedanta is enhanced now. Without shaking the fundamentals of it, it is enhanced now. I always would translate Jyoti, consciousness. Jyoti is also Jyoti. And that Jyoti, I gave a talk once, it from bit from chit. This is a line from, I think, John Wheeler or somebody. He used it from bit. Somewhere, I forget. Either some information scientist or some big physicist, someone. It from bit. It means universe, physical universe. Bit means information. So is this universe information? Already you see. If you say it is information, from there to mind is very little gap. Especially the Vedantic idea of mind as an object. From there to reflected consciousness is very little gap. And from there to pure consciousness, again a small gap. So David Chalmers suggested you should give a talk, it from bit from chit. Chit, pure consciousness. So from pure consciousness comes appearance of mind. From mind, appearance of the world. Or from world you go by neti to mind. From mind you go to drashta, sakshi, which we are doing. Then lady there, yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj. Myself, Devalina Gupta. Maharaj, I wanted to share a small experience and to what we are studying today. My work and life was all normal until I got an opportunity and I went out in the US. And that's when I realized that how actually the paradigm shifts happen because the work, culture, everything is different. And then during holiday I came to New York and I visited. The first thing I did was came to the Vedanta Society of New York and I met you. It was Odar, and then later in the day, I had the opportunity to hear your lecture as well. And it was about who am I, and there where you picked up that yes, such, he was such. This phrase, the way you explained it, honestly, at that time, it really didn't made into my head, to be honest. And then things changed, my task was done, I was back to India. Again, there's this paradigm shift. And I definitely enjoyed that experience as well as what I'm doing it here. And today, when I'm going through this lecture here again, it reminds me of this wonderful experience, this such or that while I was there, that such.
Yes,
so
yes.
if you could, talk about a little bit, it would
Yes,
be
yes,
overwhelming.
that is true.
Thank you.
That's a good way of looking at it. Look back into your memory of some vivid experiences which are unforgettable and the present. Notice how that becomes like a dream, like a memory, clearly experienced in consciousness. Now, Advaita tells you this one which you are having right now is also like that, like an appearance in consciousness. It is an appearance in consciousness. You might say, no, but it does not feel like that. That which was in the past, which is in the past, it feels like a dream. What I dreamt and what I remember, the difference is not much. But we'll say, Swami, what you are seeing right now is very solid, it's very real. Yes, it is real, it is solid. Do you know why? Not because of this world, it's because of you. You are present here and now, in this space at this time, because of the presence of consciousness. In fact, you don't even have to say presence of consciousness. There's a new word I learned. It's presence. Presence has two aspects, existence and awareness. Presence, you feel it now? Presence. It has two aspects, two dimensions. I am and I am aware. It is because of this presence that the world gets reality. The moment the presence is removed, you go away from this place, you go down time from this place. At a distance of time and space, when you look back, this will also seem like a dream. This one which seems very real now, when we go for dinner, this will look like a dream. Ye sach ya wo sach. What was the answer? Neither is such, tum hi sach. You are the truth. Nothing is true. No, it is true. You are the truth. And always you were the truth. This world borrows truth from you and then scares you or tempts you. Swami Vivekananda says, things are dead in themselves. We breathe life into them and then we run away. Then we run towards them or run away from them. Things are dead in themselves means they are names and forms. They are shadows. Who breathes life into them? We. Okay, we'll stop here. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.